Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm sharing the second installment of my supermarket series, decoding some of our favorite convenient supermarket foods at home. I'm going to be making the creamy 4-cheese rice from Rice-a-roni today, and I'm excited to share this recipe with you guys. I hope that you enjoy the video. As always, the recipe will be listed down in the description box below. Please click the subscribe button if you are new here, and if you've checked out a video or two, subscribe as well. Without further ado, let's cook. Let's talk quickly about the ingredients. As I did in the last video, I have some rice here. I also have some vermicelli. I have my seasoning blend. I have some Worcestershire sauce. I have some butter. I have 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, which I'm going to grate in a second. I also have about 2 tablespoons of Romano cheese, and then I have a 1/4 cup of mild cheddar cheese. This recipe did call for blue cheese, but I didn't have it on hand, and I'll be honest, I didn't want to go out and get blue cheese just for this recipe. I did add probably a little bit of extra Romano cheese, and I think that kind of like salty funkiness that you get from blue cheese, having that little bit of extra Romano cheese will make the difference in that. I also have some grapeseed oil, and then of course I have vegetable broth. I also have, which I forgot to include here, but I also have a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Now they have heavy cream as a part of their ingredient list in their rice. I'm not really sure the role it plays, maybe to help the creaminess, like everything creamed together. I'm a little skeptical about this particular ingredient, but you know, again, we're recreating their recipe, so you know, let's see what happens, and I'll let you guys know how I like it. So I have the pot heating on a medium high heat, and we're just going to get it a little bit warm. Now the one thing that I'm doing differently this go round is adding in the oil. I want to see what difference it makes in, like I said, the mouthfeel of the overall finished dish. I missed that part in the last one. Like I said, it was still extremely delicious, but I just wanted to compare and see if it made a significant difference. So I'm only adding about a tablespoon of oil, maybe a tablespoon and a half, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my butter. And that's kind of like sizzling immediately, so I'm actually even going to turn this down just a little bit to just under medium. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my rinsed rice. So I rinsed the rice, let it drain pretty well, as well as the vermicelli noodles. I'm giving this a good mix and stir. And then we're just gonna let this toast for a few minutes while I shred up the cheese. And then I'm just gonna set this aside until we need it. So I'm being honest, like this seems like a lot of cheese, y'all, but I guess I'll see how it goes when I'm adding it in. I figured a cup of Parmesan would be good, but maybe I kind of overdid it with the Parmesan. We will see about that, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. And let's go ahead and check on our rice. So I'm getting a pretty good brown on the rice already, which is great. I'm gonna let this toast probably for another minute or so, and then we'll go ahead and add in our seasoning blend. So when it comes to the seasoning blend, I pretty much went ahead with the same mix that I came up with for the chicken and broccoli recipe. And the only real difference here is in the chicken and broccoli recipe, it called for the use of turmeric. In this one, they use annatto. So I went ahead and added a 1/4 cup of annatto instead of adding turmeric in. And I will say one tidbit with annatto is you do not want to add annatto in large quantities. It is something that is used for color, kind of like paprika in American cooking. But if you add too much of this, you will start to get like a metal kind of taste in your food, and that is not what we want in our food. So just be cautious when you're adding that. I'm gonna start toasting. And I didn't mix up my seasoning blend beforehand, but I'll go ahead and give it a really, really good mix in here. And that smells delicious, as it did the first time. And then you guys can see, like, it immediately went to like this like super golden kind of yellow brown tone, and that is what annatto does. If you've ever had like Spanish rice, Latin cooking, anything like that, usually when you get those like really, really nice yellow orange kind of hues, they add a little extra annatto in it. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the broth. So this is a vegetable broth. I use about 1 3/4 cups, maybe a tiny bit more. And about, I would say, 2 good teaspoons of vegetable base. You guys know from the last video I shared that with the vegetable base, I feel like vegetable base to me is just a much better all-around use than chicken base, because for one, it amps up that like savoriness, that umami flavor, and 2, everything does not need to taste like chicken for it to taste good. So I am using vegetable base here. I think vegetable base is far superior in, you know, its versatility and being able to go a long way and to really add flavor to dishes without taking over the actual dish flavor. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and once this comes up to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and add in my Worcestershire sauce, and we're about a minute away from that. And then I'm going to let the rice cook for a little bit before we go ahead and add in the cheeses. We want the rice to be mostly cooked before we add in the cheeses and the milk. We don't want to boil the heavy cream, and we don't want to overcook the cheeses and have them sticking to the pot. So I went ahead and added the Worcestershire. We're gonna let this boil like another minute more, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn down the heat to a medium low, and we're gonna let it simmer for about 15 minutes before I add the rest. All right, so our rice is most of the way cooked. Like I said, y'all, I'm a little skeptical about the heavy cream piece, but I'm gonna go ahead and follow the directions. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and add in the cheddar cheese that we have here. Like I said, it's about 1/4 cup. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in most of the parmesan and the romano. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in the heavy cream. I added in a portion of it very slowly. So yeah, I think the cream just kind of comes in as a way to help melt the cheese. But I think that's about all the cheese I'm going to add. So I will adjust the amount of parmesan that I think you should add into the recipe, as well as the amount of heavy cream. But you know, this is not what I think of when I typically think of rice-a-roni. You know, if you guys can see, it definitely is a very, very cheesy, kind of creamy rice. And I'm just going to let this sit for about maybe 2 to 3 more minutes on the fire. And then I'll go ahead and on the fire, on my electric stove. And then I'll go ahead and like let it rest for just a few minutes. Once it's to this point, you don't want to overcook the cheese or the heavy. All right, y'all, so you can see that this is the final product. This is a super cheesy, creamy kind of rice. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a quick taste for you guys and let you know what I think. It was hot. So this actually tastes really, really good. I was skeptical, especially about the heavy cream, but you know, again, the cheese is dairy, so it wasn't so much the dairy itself, but more so it's just like the milk inside the rice, you know, what was it gonna add, but I think it was really just more to help the cheese melt. This is actually pretty delicious, so I'm pretty interested to see what theirs tastes like compared to this. I just kind of followed the recipe. I did not taste it ahead of time. I know what the flavor of rice-a-roni tastes like. I got that seasoning blend down from the first one, so this one is just pretty interesting in terms of like the complexities of the cheese. You definitely get that funkiness that comes through. It's like it has a nice salty balance to it, but it's not over salted. And I think all those umami flavors, that savoriness that we threw in there, from the vegetable broth to the Worcestershire to even the cheeses themselves, just made for a really pleasant surprise, if I say so myself. So this is delicious. If you guys decide to try the recipe and you like it, let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.